So you're saying you want to die? Admiral Marcus Thorne's voice was cold, with a hint of amusement laced through his words. The bridge of the UE** Vindication* was deadly quiet, except for the faint hum of the starship's power core vibrating through the floor. The crew, handpicked from Earth's best military personnel, kept their gazes fixed forward, showing no sign that they were listening, but they were. They all knew Thorne wasn't bluffing. On the massive view screen at the front of the bridge, the image of an alien ambassador flickered. The alien, representing the AR Dominion, had a tall, snake-like body covered in slick armored plates. Its many eyes blinked in a creepy, synchronized pattern. Like most of its kind, the ambassador was arrogant, confident in its species' undefeated history. "We demand your unconditional surrender, human," the ambassador hissed. "The Qatar Dominion will not tolerate further delays. You have 3 standard cycles to comply, or your planet will be destroyed." Thorne leaned back in his command chair, a slow smile spreading across his face. His hand moved lazily to the holoprojector beside him, where a 3D map of the galaxy spun. He zoomed in on a region filled with red markers, each representing a Qatar warship blocking out the stars. The numbers were overwhelming, thousands of massive ships, each capable of turning a planet into a wasteland. "Let me get this straight," Thorne said coolly. "You think we're just going to surrender and let you take Earth? You think you can scare us with threats?" The Qatar ambassador made a noise meant to show superiority, but it only sounded desperate to Thorne. "You are outnumbered. Your technology is inferior. Resistance is pointless. You cannot win." Thorne chuckled, his laugh low and dangerous. "Outnumbered? Yes. Inferior? Hardly." He stood from his chair, crossing his arms as he walked toward the view screen. "You've been watching us for what, 10 years? 20? And you still don't understand." A tense silence filled the bridge. The ambassador's many eyes blinked out of sync for the first time. Thorne let the silence stretch, knowing it would unsettle the alien more than anything he could say. Then he broke the quiet with a single word: war. The ambassador shifted, clearly uneasy. "Explain." Thorne's smile grew wider, not the smile of a man facing defeat, but of someone who had already won. "You've seen our ships, our weapons, our strategies, and you think that's all we've got. But here's the thing about humans, we don't just fight wars, we become war." The ambassador recoiled slightly, sensing the change in Thorne's tone but not fully grasping its meaning. Thorne pressed on, his voice growing more intense, the air on the bridge thick with determination. "You've only seen a glimpse of our power. You think our technology is primitive because we don't rely on the same tricks you do. But you've never pushed us to the brink. You've never made us fight for our very survival with no other choice but victory or extinction." Thorne paused, his eyes blazing with a fire no alien could understand. "You want war? We'll give you war. And when we're done, there won't be enough of your kind left to fill a single escape pod." The ambassador's confidence wavered, fear flickering in its alien eyes. "This is your last chance, human. Surrender, or be destroyed." Thorne tilted his head as if considering the offer for the first time. Then, with a sudden forceful movement, he slammed his fist down on the holoprojector, shattering the image of the Qatar fleet. "Go ahead. Make your move. And when you do, you'll see just how wrong you are." The connection cut off, and the view screen went dark. Thorne turned back to his crew, who were now watching him with a mix of anticipation and respect. He had just promised the impossible, to take on an entire alien armada with a single fleet, and win. "Prepare the ship," Thorne ordered, his voice calm but unyielding. "We're taking the fight to them." Captain Ryder, Thorne's second-in-command, a tall, battle-hardened man with more combat scars than most soldiers had years of service, stepped forward. "Orders, sir?" Thorne didn't hesitate. "We're going to show them what a human war really is. Get the hyperdrive ready. I want every weapon loaded, every fighter prepped, and every soldier prepared. We're heading straight into the heart of their fleet." Ryder nodded, a fierce grin spreading across his face. "Aye, sir. We'll be ready." As the crew began their preparations, the lights on the bridge dimmed slightly, signaling the ship's shift to combat mode. The men moved with purpose, their faces set with determination. Every action was precise and deliberate. They knew the odds were against them, but they also knew something else: Admiral Thorne had never lost a battle. The hum of the hyperdrive grew louder, a deep, resonant thrum that vibrated through the ship. Thorne felt it in his bones, the power, the potential, the promise of the battle ahead. He took his seat again, his fingers drumming on the armrest as he surveyed the scene before him. This was what he lived for, not the politics, not the diplomacy, but the pure, raw chaos of war. The moment when everything was on the line, and there was no turning back. "Let's remind these aliens why they should fear us," Thorne said quietly, his voice filled with deadly resolve. "We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for our right to exist. And we're going to make sure they never forget it." The Vindication shuddered as the hyperdrive engaged, the stars outside the viewport stretching into long, thin streaks of light as the ship accelerated to faster-than-light speeds. In moments, they would reach the edge of the Qatar Armada, and the war that had simmered for years would finally erupt into full-scale conflict. Admiral Marcus Thorne leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the countdown timer ticking away on the view screen. The Qatar had underestimated humanity, thinking they could intimidate them into submission. But they were about to learn a hard truth: humans didn't just survive, they thrived when pushed to the limit. And when backed into a corner, they became the most dangerous species in the galaxy. "Brace yourselves, gentlemen," Thorne said, a deadly calm settling over him. "This is going to be one hell of a fight." The ship dropped out of hyperspace, and the massive Qatar fleet filled the screen, a vast wall of ships stretching across the void. Thorne's smile remained as he gave the order. "All batteries, fire at will." The Vindication's guns erupted in a torrent of fire, streaking across the darkness toward the enemy. This wasn't just a battle for survival, it was a statement, a clear message that the Qatar had made the worst mistake of their existence by underestimating humanity. Now, they would face the consequences.